Yeah? All right. Perfect.
You're live.
All right.
Cut the music.
Hello, everybody. We have Greg Ratz right over here again today.
That's
Is that loud?
right there.
There we go. All right. He is the candidate for the California's 45th congressional district, and today we are just going to be talking about something that most of us enjoy is Halloween. It's when we get to go out and go trick-or-treating, and in terms of that, public safety. So here we have Greg Ratz.
No, actually, we're doing some taping here tonight. We're just waiting on the person to show up, and she got in a little fender bender, so we're not able to tape yet. So we thought we'd go live here and see what's going on out in the beautiful Orange County. But yeah, Halloween's right around the corner, and getting ready for that.
Yeah.
So this is Sonia. She works in my campaign. She's my senior campaign advisor, and we have an amazing campaign staff, and these guys just working overtime for us. So appreciate it.
Yeah. So tell me, what are you going to be doing this Halloween?
Well, this Halloween I have 6 grandkids, so I'm going to try to get over see a couple of them.
Okay.
But my wife and I will flip-flop, so if kids come to our house, we have someone here to pass out the candy. And if they're, and then I'll probably go to my daughters. I have twin daughters that live in Irvine, and they each have 2 little kids, so it's going to be really exciting for them. So we're excited for that. And my son lives in San Juan. He has 2 little girls, so
Okay.
this is going to be really cool. They're already got all their costumes. They're all ready to go, so.
Yeah. Do you think Irvine passes out a lot of candy or Mission Viejo?
Mostly Mission Viejo. I think
Yeah.
Irvine, there's still a lot of new neighborhoods and stuff, and a lot of gated communities. So one hit Mission Viejo, we do really well. We're having this big scarecrow contest at our Murray Center, which is our senior center, and everyone's dressing up scarecrows, and they're going to have the announcement of the winner here in a few days, or in probably tomorrow or the next day.
All right. So, in all these years that you've gone trick-or-treating and you've been out with your kids and even yourself, if you could give one piece of parenting advice or one piece of advice to even teenagers out there trick-or-treating this Halloween, what would it be?
Just be safe. Go out with your parents. Now, when I grew up in the 60s and the 50s, and my mom, we were 8 of us kids. We'd have just a grocery bag, paper bag, and we just dressed up like bums or whatever, and we'd just go door to door, and we'd disappear for 3-4 hours till we fill this thing up, and then we come home. Then we have to worry about parents going with us or anything. But throughout the years, it's got a little more dangerous. You're not sure what's in some of these candies, so you always want to make sure it's wrapped candy.
All right.
You don't want it like an apple or something, because we always just throw the apple.
Yeah, we don't want apple
because
on
we all
Halloween
wanted.
night.
Yeah, we all wanted candy.
Yeah.
Or some lady would give us like 10 pennies or something, which is fine. But we just wanted candy. But here's the thing: my mother, very Christian upbringing. When we got home, we had to pour out all our candy in the living room, and we could pick what we want, and then we give half of it had to go to the poor people.
Oh, wow.
So all that work we did, half of it
Yeah.
would go to the poor people.
Oh,
And I
that's
thought we were
awesome.
poor.
Yeah.
We were 8 little kids, very lower middle class family, but I
Yeah.
grew up in Arizona, and then we'd take it to different families that were underprivileged, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what about you? You taking your daughter out for?
I am. I don't know what I want her to be yet. Last year she was a Wonder Woman, and this year I'm thinking either a princess or a cat. She's 2, so I don't know if she'll even remember this. But
Okay. What's
either
your
or.
daughter's name?
Sienna.
Sienna.
Yes.
Is that a cute name?
Yeah, she's a
Just
doll.
and I guess your husband's home watching Sienna tonight.
Yes, he is.
So you got the
Yes. And
pass to go out. This is your night to go out. So you hang out here with the campaign
on
at
the
Greg
campaign
Grass.
on the campaign
I got
trail.
most of my campaign staff here. They're not on camera, but we got
Yes.
Blake and Cole and Mark. So we got a pretty good team, and we're working hard. We're hitting it hard. We're down to almost 4 months to the primary. March 3rd is the primary. The ballots, everyone's going to get a ballot by mail, and those go out February 3rd. So we got to assume the election day is February 3rd, because that's when everyone starts getting their ballots.
Yeah.
They can start filling them out.
Yeah.
You can mail them in. 11 days before the primary, you can actually walk them into what they call election centers. There's no more precinct voting this time. The Democrats actually changed the law to there's no more precincts. You don't go down to your church. You don't go to your neighborhood school or whatever. There's going to be major centers somewhere within the county, and you take it in that, or you can mail it in. So it's a little different this year. Everybody gets a ballot in the mail. So look for your ballot around February 3rd to February 5th. It's 29 days before the election. The ballots go out.
Yeah. And if you're not registered or trying to help somebody that is not registered or moved addresses, reach out to the county or reach out to your local representative or even to us at graygrats.com, and
Right.
you'd
And
be more than happy to help you.
If you picked a party, say you're a Democrat and you're voting as a Democrat, only the Democrat presidential candidates will be on your ballot. If you're a Republican, only Republican presidential candidates be on your ballot. But all of us in Congress, since we're in a jungle primary here in California, where the top two move on, all of us running for Congress in the 45th district would be on the ballot. What I understand, there's three Democrats running and three Democrats and 5 Republicans right now. So there's going to be 8 on the ballot, and the top two, after all the votes are counted on March 3rd, we go to next November. So right now, our sitting Congresswoman's a Democrat. Historically, she'll probably come in first, and so we're working really hard to come in second to be in the top 2 so we can move on.
Yeah. Mark, are there any questions coming in?
Is anybody even watching?
Do you have any comments?
Yeah, we have a few questions. Let's see. We got a bunch of people watching. Someone said, hello, how are you doing?
Good.
The new software, Pete Mitchell said, oh my gosh, big fan.
Oh, yeah, Pete.
So
we love Pete Mitchell. He's the person in Top Gun, Tom Cruise. Pete Mitchell was the Top Gun pilot that Tom Cruise played.
Okay.
But that was just a movie character. So I don't know exactly who this Pete Mitchell is.
So, hey, everybody, how you guys doing?
So you got your own camera set up,
yep.
too.
Yeah.
This is Mark Nugent.
Hey, everybody. My name is Mark Nugent. You're watching Mark Nugent Live. So anyway, can you tell us a little about your website?
Yes, we have a website, and it's constantly being updated and upgraded. It's greggraths.com, GREGRATHS.com. And it tells you all about what I stand for. I'm a retired Marine of 30 years. I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona. I went to Arizona State University, joined the officer program while I was in college. In 1972, I joined, went active duty in 1975, and went to flight training in Pensacola, Florida. Then I got based out here at El Toro, 1977-78 timeframe. So I've been out here ever since. I've been a homeowner since 1978. But there was times in my career where I left the area. I went to D.C. for 4 years. I worked at the White House. I went to Japan for a year, and I was on several aircraft carrier cruises, mostly the USS Midway. I was on USS Abraham Lincoln, the Ranger, Constellation, Kitty Hawk, a few of these carriers. So I flew the F-4 Phantom and then the F-18 Hornet.
So right now I'm looking at your website, and there's a picture of you in a fighter, jet fighter.
Yeah, that's an F-18. I was right in that picture, I was an air group commander. An air group commander, I commanded 7 squadrons, and each of the squadrons had different airplanes. I commanded F-18s, F-5s. We kept the F-5s in Yuma. We had 2 helicopter squadrons up at Edwards Air Force Base, CH-46s and CH-53s. And we had a Huey and a Cobra squadron in Camp Pendleton. And then we had our F-18 squadron at MCS Miramar. And that's where, when El Toro shut down in 1999, 2000, we moved everything to Miramar and Camp Pendleton. And then we actually moved 2 helicopter squadrons up to Edwards Air Force Base.
So when was the last time you flew an airplane?
I flew, my son-in-law's father has an airplane. They live in Flagstaff, and I flew, it's an experimental turboprop. And it's just maybe a year ago. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So
wow. We flew over the Grand Canyon and everything, so it was pretty cool. But I flew for JetBlue when I retired. I flew the Airbus 320, and I left them in, I think it's 2008. I joined them in 2004 to 2008, somewhere in there. Yeah.
So I have a question. Someone's asking, how do they volunteer on your website? Could you walk us through that real quick? I'm going to show them your website.
Sonia, do you know how to do that?
Yeah.
Can you show our audience?
So,
We can,
so can you talk me through it? The audience can see the screen.
right.
So I'm going to the home button. So we had somebody say how they want to know how to volunteer.
So you would go on Get Involved.
So okay, let me click on it.
Wait, we're not on there yet.
Okay, so let me click Get Involved because they're looking at my screen, which is the website.
Yeah, Cole does all our social media and all our stuff with the website. This guy's an amazing.
So okay, so right here it says how would you like to get involved? Is that where it is right there?
Yep.
It's not up yet.
Mine
There's a delay
still
on that
loading.
one.
Okay.
Yeah, but yours it should show up. If you just click on Get Involved, it should ask for your contact
Name,
information.
first name, last name, email, phone number.
Mhm. Just a standard contact info. Fill that in, hit submit, and we should get that in our database.
Awesome. And then if they want to donate, sure you
Well,
guys
yes, you see the big red button on the right side. So
right there. Click the
donate
donate
there.
button.
Yes, easy.
It doesn't have to be
peasy.
much. $10 is great.
Last time we raised about $1,800 last time you guys did this.
I know. It was
Yes.
pretty cool.
So we had some. Okay, so there you go.
Am I on right now? Because I'm checking to see if
No.
Sylvania's coming. Okay.
So they're right there. Then we had some
Yeah,
comments.
the big red button.
Yes.
If you give $199 or less, it doesn't go. Well, everything goes to the FEC, but $199, $200 or more, you got to put down your employer and what your job title is. If it's
Yep.
200 or more.
We have Catherine Ann Elizabeth has a question. What did you do at the White House when you worked there?
Well, this was in 1996. I was just finished my master's degree at National Defense University. I picked up a master's in military strategy, and I was called to the Pentagon. I was a lieutenant colonel at the time, and they interviewed me, and they said there's an assignment at the White House, in the White House military office, to run all the support of the President of the United States. Air Force One, his helicopters, his medical team. Camp David's run by the Navy. So they sent me over there. I interviewed with a political appointee who was a retired Marine colonel, and they picked me up for a 3-year tour. So I was there from 96 to 99. It was a really, really good tour. I was able to understand federal government. That's why I'll make a good congressman, because I understand Washington. I lived there 4 years. I worked over at the Pentagon for a while, so I understand the relationship between the Pentagon, Congress, and the White House. I worked with Congress a lot. Whenever there's a military bill that got to the White House, we would review it, especially on promotions and things like that. So it just gave me an opportunity to learn Washington, and my top fundraiser, who works for me, we went to Washington in June. We got to meet a lot of the congressmen and stuff. So it was pretty cool. I can handle that. I can handle the swamp.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 66, so no one's gonna buy me or any of that stuff, because my integrity will not let that happen. So I will represent the people of this district with honor, integrity, and dependability.
Yeah, that's nice. That's really refreshing and nice to hear. Go ahead.
So what kind of policy questions have you been getting from the constituents on the campaign trail so far?
You know, we've been walking neighborhoods now. We've already hit over 3,000 homes in the last 2 weeks, and 99% of the households have been, actually 100 for me, but a couple of my other walkers, 100%, they've been very nice. You know, knock on the door. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if they can't talk, they'll just say, hey, I can't talk, and I give them some literature. But they've asked about immigration, obviously a big issue. Overspending at the national level, that's a big issue. Taxes in California is a big issue. Very expensive to live here. Yep. Very high tax state. And if I go to a Republican house, I go, what's the number one issue? They say Democrats. You go to a Democrat house, I say, what's the number one issue? They say Republicans. And I gotta make this very clear. I was at the White House when President Clinton was impeached. And from that day on, this country's been divided and split for 20 years now. It's just been a battle between the parties. And if we go through another impeachment, that means another 20 years of just same old garbage. So my job as a legislator is to get there and legislate, write law, help law, ensure that we start balancing our budget, ensure that what my job is, ensure the people of the 45th Congressional District are taken care of and their lives are made a little bit better. Whatever way I can do that, I'll do it. I'm totally against this omnibus bill type of spending. I'm for regular order. Regular order means there's 13 authorization bills, 13 authorization, what's the other? Appropriation bills, and they should all be voted on by the House, then the Senate, then they go into committee, they come up with a bill, they get it to the president, they sign it. But what they do now is they package this whole bill into like a $1.7 trillion bill, and then they send it to the president, and he basically has to sign it, because if he doesn't, they'll shut down the government. So the Congress is saying, here's your bill, Mr. President, sign it. We're done with it. And it should not be that way. It should be regular order. So I'm going to work with leadership and saying we need to get back to what they call regular order. Now, they don't like to do that, both Democrats and Republicans. They don't like regular order because they just like to throw everything to the president. He's kind of forced to sign it, because if he shut down the government, then it all on his.
So it's almost setting them up for a failure.
Well, they're like, well, hey, we sent you a bill. The president's like, well, I'm not
Yeah.
signing it. Redo it. The government's shut down. So who do they blame? They don't blame Congress. They blame the president.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, overspending. I'm the mayor of Mission Viejo. We just had a $6 million budget surplus this year, which is unheard of these days, where we use the money for good things, to upgrade things within the community. And, I got 6 little grandkids, like I said earlier, and we can't just hover this debt over their head. I'll be dead and gone, but there'll be this country can collapse with the amount of debt they're piling on.
Yeah.
So is there anything we could do about the federal gas tax in Congress?
Wow, they've been pushing that for a long time. I'm not a tax guy. I believe there's enough money in the federal government, which is, I think, almost $4 trillion, maybe $5 trillion now. There's enough money to take care of the highways without taxing us anymore. We can't handle in California. We cannot handle any more taxes. We are so overburdened with taxes. Property tax is high, and they're trying to get rid of Prop 13 now, which would just explode the property tax. Income tax is high, one of the highest in the country. People are leaving here fast. Already 800,000 people have left in the last couple of years. Texas is getting a big influx. They don't want us there. If you show up in Texas with a California license plate, you better change that plate within a day, or they're not going to be happy with you.
Yeah.
Idaho's getting a lot. They call it Idafornia or something like that. So they're like, stay away.
Yeah.
Get your act in order, California,
Yeah.
and don't bring your problems to our state. So I'm staying here put. Obviously, with 6 grandkids, I'm not going anywhere, and a beautiful wife. I'm going to ensure that I will do what I can to get your taxes down, and I will work with whoever in the Congress. There's 53 congressmen in the state of California. Only 7 are Republicans. The rest are Democrats. So my job is to get a seat back. We have not flipped a seat from Democrat to Republican since 1992, 27 years. So I'd be the first one to flip it in 27 years. So we need to get some common sense, conservative views in finance and spending and things like that.
We have a couple questions.
All right, Sonia, you got anything, Sonia?
Yeah. So, I think Silvana is texting me.
Okay, is she on her way?
I think so.
Okay, because once you get here, we're going to cut this off because we're going to do some taping for some commercials and for a future Facebook Live. So go on, Mark.
Okay, Paul Skinner actually served in the Army with them. He just is more of a comment. Those in Washington don't want to do a single item bill. They always want to tack on multiple items that no one can agree on. I think that's what you were talking about.
That's so true, because they don't have the guts to do it. And it's been years since we've been in regular order. I mean, under Paul Ryan, we weren't in regular order. Under our current Nancy Pelosi, she understands regular order, but like I said, they just pawn it all off to the president. Who's a better person to blame than President Trump? They blame him for everything else, so might as well blame him on the budget. Ian, you got a question? No?
Yeah, turn it on.
Just happy to be here. We've interviewed before. Hi, everybody. I'm Ian. I'm a freelance reporter, usually report with the Epoch Times, but I'm a friend of Mark, and he invited me to come along and join him on the show. So I've interviewed Mayor Rath before when he first announced his run for Congress.
And you ran me in the paper there, Epoch Times, right?
Yeah, Epoch Times.
Epoch, right.
Yeah, and it was a great interview. So just happy to be here, observing and listening to the great conversation everyone's having.
Well, you put me on the map, so we're doing very well. We just did some internal polling that really turned out phenomenal, but the other candidates haven't spent a bunch of their money yet, so we got to keep charging. We're not going to rest on our laurels.
So we've got a couple minutes left, But I have some other questions coming across my screen from the audience, and also first and foremost, thank you for taking these questions live.
Sure. Does anybody want? How many is on?
Well, we have one screen says like 15, other screens like 20 because we're streaming on YouTube and Facebook.
Wow.
So here's a vague question. What are some of the major issues that you feel face the country and specifically the 45th Congressional District that you can fix?
What I can fix, I'm a veteran. Like I said earlier, 30 years in the Marine Corps. We have lots of veterans. We have close to 80,000 veterans in the 45th District. When El Toro Air Base, which was a master jet base, Marine Corps jet base, shut down in 1999-2000, and then the Tustin Air Base, which was a master helicopter base, shut down in the same year, I think 2000. A lot of those veterans basically got out, retired, and stayed in the area. So I know our president's working really hard to take care of our veterans, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'll work with the other congressmen within the Orange County to ensure that we take care of our veterans. I would like to see some type of veteran hospital here in Orange County. I don't want to go all the way up to Long Beach or all the way down to San Diego. We do have a clinic in Laguna Hills, but I would like to see a more medical help for our veterans here, not just for outside type injuries that you can see, but mental energy problems with post-traumatic stress. So I'd like to help our veterans. Obviously, we're very close to the border. We need to secure our border, and we got to work on the immigration problem. We just can't keep passing it on to the next person. We got to work on it. Yes, secure the border, and then can figure out what we're going to do with the 20 million plus those that are not documented in our country. We got to work with them. If they're criminal type aliens, if they're in jail, when their jail term's up, get them out of the state and get them back to their country of origin. If they're misdemeanors, whatever, obviously send them back. And then we need to figure out what we're going to do with those people that are still here, that have been here for 30 years. And I propose setting up not courts, but some type of immigration process where you can interview these people and then maybe put them on the back at the end of the line, and then they can pay a fine or whatever, and start working themselves where they don't have to consider hiding all the time. But I don't like this whole sanctuary state stuff. Let's get it all out in the open and work on it. And I will work across the aisle. I'll work bipartisanship to get this done. So immigration's a big deal. National security is a big deal. Veterans is a big deal. Those are the three I hear.
Okay. We got another question. It's kind of a funny one. Right before we get to our guest,
we'll just do this one quick last.
Okay, this one last question. Yes. She's almost here. Okay,
awesome. Yeah.
Should Trump Twitter more or less? From David
Tweet
Leckness.
Well, I want to hear David's thoughts
Here's
first.
the thing: the mainstream media does not give him accurate reporting, so he can tweet 66 million people. That's what he tweets right now, 66 million at once. So he goes directly to the people. So I have no problem that he goes directly to people. But he does have to watch some of his tweets. They get a little out of hand. But this is his way of going directly to the people.
Well, just like us, we have our own media. We are our own media outlet.
Right.
I mean, right now we're on a split screen.
I think Facebook.
So they're seeing me and you at the same time.
Yeah.
I think Facebook, he has 20-some million. So he has Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I know Melania has 10, 15 million on Twitter. So that's his way he gets to the people. And it's tough, man. I tell you what he goes through every day. I couldn't handle. And I'm a Marine. I'm in 3 combat tours. And what he goes through every day, a multi-billionaire doing this, God bless him, and I wish him all the best.
I could see Sonia over there. She's like, we got to go.
Yes, we do. But thank you,
all
everyone.
right, so we're going to go. We're going to do some taping here. We're going to tape some commercials. So thanks, everybody.
All right. See you guys next time.